Captain Hyun-woo sat in his chair at the control center of Luna Station. The large room was filled with screens and computers that watched space for any strange signals. He had been doing this job for 5 years, and most days were quiet. Today felt different. The coffee in his cup had gone cold hours ago. Outside the big windows, Earth looked blue and peaceful in the distance. Hyun-woo rubbed his tired eyes and looked at the time. It was almost midnight. Earth time. "Captain, I'm getting something weird on Channel 7, said So-jin from her desk across the room. She was the best person on the station for understanding alien languages, even though they had never found any aliens before. Hyun-woo walked over to her station. So-jin had long black hair tied back and wore thick glasses. Her screens showed wave patterns that looked very strange. "What kind of weird?" he asked. "It's not from any human ship. The pattern is too different, and it's repeating every 30 seconds, like someone is trying to call for help." So-jin pressed some buttons, and the speakers filled with a sound that made Hyun-woo's skin feel cold. It was like music, but sad and desperate. The voice that made the sounds was not human. "Can you understand any of it?" Hyun-woo asked. "Give me time. The computer is working on it now." So-jin's fingers moved fast over her keyboard. "The signal is coming from the Kepler 442 system. That's about 340 light-years away." Hyun-woo felt his heart beat faster. If this was real, it would be the first time humans had ever heard from aliens. He picked up his phone and called Admiral Tae-hyun. The Admiral answered on the first ring. "This better be important, Captain." "Sir, we may have first contact." So-jin picked up what looks like an alien distress signal. There was silence on the phone for a long moment. Then the Admiral said, "I'll be there in 20 minutes. Don't let anyone else know about this yet." While they waited, So-jin worked on the signal. Slowly, words began to appear on her screen. The computer was learning the alien language and trying to translate it. "Oh no," So-jin whispered as she read the first clear sentences. Her face went white. "What does it say?" Hyun-woo asked. "They're dying. Someone called the Krex is hunting them. They're asking for help from anyone who can hear them." More words appeared on the screen. So-jin read them out loud. "We are the Volani. Our world is gone. Our children are hungry. The Krex ships follow us. We have no weapons. We have no way to fight. If anyone hears this, please help us. We are 200,000 souls with nowhere to go." The doors to the control room opened, and Admiral Tae-hyun walked in. He was a tall man with gray hair and serious eyes. Behind him came Lieutenant Commander Min-ho, his tactical officer. "Show me what you have," the Admiral said. So-jin played the signal again and showed him the translation. As more of the message became clear, the picture got worse. The aliens called themselves Volani, and they were running from something called the Krex Empire. The Krex had destroyed their home planet and were hunting down the survivors. They say, "The Galactic Council won't help them," So-jin translated. "The Council thinks the Krex are too dangerous to fight." Min-ho looked at the tactical display. "If there's a Galactic Council, that means there are lots of alien species out there. And we never knew." Admiral Tae-hyun studied the information. "How many Volani are left?" 200,000, spread across a small fleet of refugee ships. They're in the Kepler 442 system, hiding behind a gas giant. "And these Krex?" So-jin found more parts of the message. "The Volani say the Krex have destroyed 17 worlds. They hunt other species for sport. They don't take prisoners." The room became very quiet. Hyun-woo thought about 200,000 aliens, probably families with children, running for their lives with nowhere to go. "Sir," Min-ho said to the Admiral, "this could be a trap. We don't know anything about these aliens." "Could be," the Admiral agreed. "But if it's real, we're talking about genocide. A whole species being wiped out while we sit here and do nothing." So-jin kept working on the translation. "There's more. The Volani say they are peaceful. They have no weapons at all. They can't even understand violence. They're herbivores. They only eat plants. And the Krex? Predators. They see all other species as prey to be hunted." Admiral Tae-hyun walked to the window and looked out at Earth. "Captain, how long would it take to get a fleet to the Kepler 442 system?" Hyun-woo did the math in his head. "With our fastest ships, about 6 weeks." That might be too long, Sojin said. She had found another part of the message. The Villani say a Krex hunting fleet is coming. They think they have maybe 2 weeks before the Krex find them. Minho shook his head. Sir, we don't have time to get approval from Earth Command. This would have to be our decision. The Admiral turned back to them. What's our strongest fleet? Group right now? The third fleet is doing training exercises near Jupiter. About 50 ships, including the carrier Incheon and the battleship Seoul. Not enough, Admiral Tae-hyun said. If we're going to do this, we need everything we can get. So Jin found more of the alien message. Her voice was shaky as she read it. The children are dying first. The Villani say they can't make enough food on their ships. They've been running for 3 months. Hyunwoo thought about human children that age. Then he thought about alien children he had never seen, dying, in space because no one would help them. Sir, he said to the Admiral, we have to do something. Admiral Tae-hyun nodded slowly. Minho, start calling every fleet commander. Tell them to get to Earth orbit as fast as they can. Tell them it's Operation Sanctuary. What's Operation Sanctuary? Minho asked. Something I just made up. We're going to save some aliens. Minho looked worried. Sir, Earth Command won't like us starting a war without permission. Then we better win it, the Admiral said. So Jin, can you send a message back to these Villani? I think so. The computer has learned enough of their language. Tell them help is coming. Tell them to hide as long as they can. Tell them Earth remembers what it's like to be hunted. As Sojin typed the message, Hyunwoo wondered what they were getting into. Humans had never met aliens before. They didn't know how to fight in alien space. They didn't even know if their weapons would work. But somewhere in the dark between the stars, children were dying, and no one else would help them. The message went out into space, racing toward the Kepler 442 system at the speed of light. In 340 years, it would reach the Villani and tell them that Earth was coming. Admiral Tae-hyun picked up his phone. Get me the President. Tell her it's about first contact and it can't wait. Hyunwoo looked out at the stars and wondered if humanity was ready to become part of something much bigger and more dangerous than they had ever imagined. The news spread through Earth's military like fire. Within 6 hours, every ship captain in human space had heard about the alien distress signal. Within 12 hours, they were all heading toward Earth. Commander Ji-hoon was testing his new stealth destroyer near Mars when the message came in. His ship, the Busan, was one of only 3 stealth ships in the human fleet. It used new technology that made it almost invisible to enemy sensors. Sir, we just got orders to return to Earth immediately, said his communications officer. Something about Operation Sanctuary. Ji-hoon had heard the rumors already. Aliens in trouble, a rescue mission, a chance to make history. Set course for Earth, best speed, he ordered. And send a message to Admiral Tae-hyun. Tell him the Busan volunteers for whatever this is. 3 hours later, Captain Eunji got the same message aboard her carrier, the Incheon. She was leading a training exercise with 12 other ships when her tactical officer brought her the news. Aliens, Captain? Real aliens? Eunji looked at the stars through the bridge windows. Looks like it, and they need our help. What about the training exercise? Cancel it. We have real work to do now. The Incheon was the largest ship in the human fleet. It carried 60 fighter planes and had enough firepower to destroy a small moon. If they were going to fight unknown aliens, they would need every advantage they could get. Back on Earth, Dr. Boram was working late in her lab when her assistant called her with the news. Boram was Earth's best expert on alien life, even though she had never seen any real aliens. Doctor, they want you at the command center right away. Something about first contact protocols. Boram dropped her coffee cup. She had spent her whole career preparing for this moment, hoping it would happen someday. She just never thought it would be during a war. At the orbital shipyards around Earth, engineer Seok Jin was getting the strangest work order of his life. You want me to do what to the ships? Install life support systems that work for aliens, his supervisor explained. We don't know what they breathe or how hot they like it, so make it adjustable for everything. Seok Jin scratched his head. How am I supposed to know what aliens need? Dr. Boram is sending you some guesses. Just make it work. In the military base on Luna, Colonel Wu Jin was briefing his Marines on fighting in space. He had 3,000 of the best soldiers in human space, but they had all trained to fight other humans. "Listen up," he told his officers. "We don't know what these Kreks look like. We don't know how big they are or how they fight. But we know they're predators, and we know they've killed billions of innocent aliens. How do we fight something we've never seen?" asked Major Dalsu. "The same way humans have always fought," Wu Jin replied. "We adapt, we overcome, and we win." At the communications center, young Su was trying to learn as much as possible about the aliens. So Jin had taught him some of the Villani language, and he was listening to every signal they could find. "The Villani seem nice," he told Sojin. "They keep saying thank you and please even in their distress calls. What about the Kreks?" Young Su's face got serious. "I found some of their communications. They're not nice at all. They call other species meat and prey. They think hunting intelligent beings is fun." So Jin felt sick. "How many species have they wiped out?" 17 that we know of, maybe more. Ships kept arriving at Earth. The heavy cruiser Gwangju came from the asteroid belt. The fast destroyers Daegu and Ulsan came from patrol duty near Jupiter. Even civilian ships started showing up. Cargo haulers, mining ships, anything that could carry weapons or supplies. Admiral Tae-hyun stood in the command center and watched the fleet grow. "How many ships do we have now?" 437, sir, Minho reported. "More coming every hour." "Weapons? Every ship is armed. The civilian ships don't have much, but they can carry Marines and supplies." Dr. Boram arrived at the command center with a folder full of papers. "Admiral, I've prepared first contact protocols for meeting the Villani. What do I need to know?" "They're completely peaceful. They literally cannot understand violence. When they see our weapons, they might be afraid of us." "Great," the Admiral said. "We're trying to save them, and they'll think we're another enemy." "I'm working on that. I've prepared some messages that might help them understand we're here to help." Engineer Seok Jin called in from the shipyards. "Admiral, the life support modifications are done on the first 50 ships. The rest will be ready in 2 days." "We might not have 2 days. How long until the Kreks reach the Villani?" Sojin checked her calculations. Based on their last message, maybe 10 days. "And how long to get there?" 6 weeks at maximum speed. Admiral Tae-hyun did the math in his head. They would arrive a month. Too late. "We need to go faster." "Sir, our engines can't go any faster. Then we leave earlier. How many ships are ready now?" Minho checked his list. 200 ships are fully ready. Another 100 could be ready by tomorrow. "That's not enough to fight the Kreks fleet." Commander Ji-hoon's voice came over the radio from his stealth ship. "Admiral, what if we don't fight them head-on? What if we hit them before they expect it?" "Explain." "My stealth ships could get there early. We could scout the Kreks fleet and attack their command ships, confuse them long enough for the main fleet to arrive." Captain Ng joined the conversation. "My fighters could provide cover for the stealth attack. We'd take heavy losses, but it might work." Admiral Tae-hyun thought about it. It was risky, but it might be their only chance. "How many volunteers do you have for a suicide mission?" "All." "Of them, sir," Ji-hoon replied. "Every single pilot wants to go." Dr. Boram looked up from her papers. "Admiral, I should go with the first ships. If we're going to meet the Villani, they need to see that we're not all soldiers." "Too dangerous, Doctor. Everything about this mission is dangerous. But if the Villani see only weapons when we arrive, they might run from us too." Colonel Wu Jin stepped forward. "My Marines are ready, sir. 3,000 soldiers ready to fight for people they've never met." "Why?" the Admiral asked. "Why are you all so eager to risk your lives for aliens?" The room was quiet for a moment. Then Wu Jin spoke for all of them. "Because it's the right thing to do, sir. Because someone has to stand up for the innocent." Young Su held up his hand. "Sir, I'm getting another message from the Villani." "What do they say?" Young Su's voice was sad as he translated. "They say more children died today. They're down to about a week of food. And they think they saw Kreks scout ships at the edge of their system." Admiral Tae-hyun looked around the room at all the brave people who were ready to fly into the unknown to save strangers. "All right, people. We leave in 18 hours. First wave will be 300 ships. Second wave follows as soon as they're ready." "What do we tell Earth Command?" Minho asked. We tell them we're doing what humans do best. We're protecting the innocent. As the meeting broke up, people rushed to their duties. Ships were loaded with weapons and supplies. Marines checked their equipment. Engineers made final repairs. In 18 hours, the largest fleet in human history would leave Earth. They were going to a place none of them had ever seen, to fight enemies they knew nothing about, to save aliens they had never met. But as Admiral, Tae-hyun looked out at the growing fleet. He felt proud. This was what humanity was meant to do. This was their moment to show the galaxy who they really were. The stars waited, and somewhere among them, children were crying for help. Earth had heard them, and Earth was coming. The human fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Kepler 442 system. After 6 weeks of flying through space, they had finally arrived. Admiral Tae-hyun stood on the bridge of his flagship and looked at the screens showing the alien refugee fleet. The Vellani ships were strange and beautiful. They looked more like giant flowers than spacecraft, with curved surfaces that caught the light from the distant star. "How many ships?" he asked. 47 Vellani vessels, reported Lieutenant Commander Minho. "They're hiding behind the gas giant, just like they said in their messages." "Any sign of the Kreks?" "Not yet, but our long-range sensors are picking up something big coming from the other side of the system. Maybe 12 hours away." Captain Soo-young was already suiting up for the first contact mission. She had volunteered to lead the team that would board a Vellani ship and meet the aliens face-to-face. With her were Dr. Bo-ram and a small team of diplomats and doctors. "Remember," Dr. Bo-ram told her team, "the Vellani are completely peaceful. They might be afraid of us because we carry weapons. Move slowly, speak softly, and let me do most of the talking." As their shuttle approached the largest Vellani ship, Soo-young could see how damaged it was. There were holes in its flower-like hull, and parts of it looked like they had been burned. "They've been through hell," she whispered. The Vellani ships. Docking bay was unlike anything humans had ever seen. Everything was curved and organic-looking, like the inside of a giant plant. The air smelled sweet, like flowers. A group of aliens was waiting for them. Soo-young tried not to stare, but she couldn't help it. The Vellani looked like tall, thin people covered in soft fur that changed colors with their emotions. Their eyes were huge and gentle, and they had no mouths. Instead, they made musical sounds that somehow formed words. The oldest-looking Vellani stepped forward. His fur was silver with age, and he moved carefully, as if he was very tired. "I am Thailand," the alien said in heavily accented English. We did not expect warriors to answer our call." Dr. Bo-ram stepped forward slowly. "We are not here to hurt you. We came because you asked for help." Thailand's fur shifted to a pale blue color that Dr. Bo-ram guessed meant sadness. "You carry death tools," he said, looking at the weapons the human security team carried. "Are you like the Kreks?" "No," Soo-young said firmly. "We're nothing like the Kreks. We use our weapons to protect people, not to hurt them." Thailand looked confused. "I do not understand. How can death tools protect?" Dr. Bo-ram realized the problem. "They literally can't understand violence," she whispered to Soo-young. "To them, weapons only exist to cause harm." She tried to explain to Thailand. "Imagine if a dangerous animal was trying to hurt your children. Would you not do anything to stop it?" "We would run away," Thailand replied. "We would hide. We do not hurt other living things." "But what if you couldn't run? What if hiding wasn't enough?" Thailand's fur turned a darker blue. Then we would die. We cannot change what we are." The human team spent hours talking with Thailand and other Vellani leaders. Slowly, they began to understand each other. The Vellani had never developed weapons because they had never needed them. Their home world had no predators, and they had lived in peace for thousands of years. Then the Kreks had found them. "They came from the sky like a storm," Thailand explained. "Their ships were huge and dark. They said we were good for hunting. They said our fear made the hunt more fun." Dr. Bo-ram felt sick. "How many of your people lived on your home world?" 50 million, Thailand replied. "Now we are only 200,000. Meanwhile, on other human ships, pilot Dong Min was flying supplies between the refugee vessels. He had never seen anything so sad. The Volani ships were crowded far beyond their limits. Families were crammed into spaces meant for one person. "How long have you been running?" he asked a young Volani named Yalara, who was helping coordinate the supply transfers. 14 of your weeks, she replied. Her fur was a dull green that Bo-Ram had told them meant exhaustion. "We left our world with food for 5 weeks. We have been eating very little since then." Medic Nayung was working in the Volani medical bay, helping treat the sick and injured. She had never worked with aliens before, but she quickly learned that they weren't so different from humans when it came to basic needs. "This little one hasn't eaten in 3 days, she told Dr. Bo-Ram over the radio. "They're giving all their food to the children, but there's not enough for everyone." "Can our food work for them?" "Some of it. Their systems are similar to humans, but they can only eat plants." The human fleet began transferring every bit of vegetarian food they had to the Volani ships. It still wasn't enough, but it would help. Communications Officer Jay Wan was monitoring Krek's radio signals. What he heard made his blood run cold. "Admiral," he called, "I'm picking up Krek's communications. They know we're here." "What are they saying?" They're confused. They're asking their commanders what humans are. They've never heard of us before." Admiral Tae-hyun joined the conversation. "Do they see us as a threat?" Jae-won listened to more signals. "No, sir. They think we're another herbivore species. They're actually excited. They think they get to hunt 2 species now instead of 1. The Admiral's face got hard. "How far away are they?" 6 hours, maybe less. "It's a big fleet, sir. At least 300 ships. On the Volani flagship, Captain Su Young was still talking with Thailand when the news came in. The old alien's fur turned almost white with fear. "The Kreks are coming," she told him gently, "but we're going to protect you." "How?" Thailand asked. "They are too strong. They have conquered 17 worlds. No one can stop them." Dr. Bo-Ram knelt down next to the alien elder. "Thailand, there's something you need to understand about humans. We come from what we call a death world. Our planet tried to kill us for millions of years. We learned to fight back." "I do not understand. We had predators on our world. Dangerous. Animals, deadly weather, diseases that could kill whole cities. We survived by becoming very good at fighting." Thailand's fur shifted through several colors as he tried to process this information. "You mean, you are predators too?" "We can be," Su Young said carefully. "But we choose to protect instead of hunt. We choose to save instead of destroy." Young Yalara spoke up. "The Kreks say all predators are evil. They say it is natural to hunt the weak." "The Kreks are wrong," Dr. Bo-Ram replied. "Being strong doesn't mean you have to hurt others. It means you can protect them." Admiral Tae-hyun's voice came over the radio. "All ships, prepare for battle. The Kreks fleet will be here in 4 hours." Thailand looked up at the humans with his huge, gentle eyes. "You will really fight for us? You will. Risk your lives for people you just met." Captain Su Young thought about her own children back on Earth. Then she thought about the young Volani she had seen on the refugee ships, hungry and afraid. "Yes," she said simply. "We will fight for you." "Why?" Su Young looked around the alien ship, at all the peaceful beings who had never hurt anyone in their lives. They were artists and scientists, farmers and teachers. They had created beautiful music and amazing technology. They had never made a single weapon. "Because it's right," she answered. "Because someone has to stand between the innocent and those who would hurt them." Thailand's fur slowly changed to a warm golden color that Dr. Bo-Ram realized meant hope. "I do not understand your weapons," the alien elder said. "I do not understand your willingness to fight. But I understand your hearts. Thank you for coming." As the human teams returned to their ships, they carried with them a new understanding. The galaxy was full of peaceful species like the Volani, but it was also full of predators like the Kreks. Humanity was about to show the galaxy that not all predators were the same. The Kreks fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel like a swarm of dark insects against the stars. Their ships were massive and ugly, covered in spikes and weapons. Each one looked like it was built for only one purpose: destroying other ships. Admiral Tae-hyun watched from his command center as the enemy fleet spread out. "Count them!" 312 vessels, reported Strategic Officer Insu. Most of them are bigger than our largest ships. Do we have a chance? Insu looked at his calculations. On paper? No, sir. They outgun us 3-1. What about off paper? Off paper, sir, they've never fought humans before. The lead Krex ship sent a message to the human fleet. The voice that came through the speakers was deep and harsh, like rocks grinding together. Unknown species, the alien voice said in broken English. You protect our prey. This is not permitted. Surrender the livestock and we will give you a quick death. Admiral Tae-hyun picked up the communication microphone. He thought about Thailand and the hungry Villani children. He thought about 17 dead worlds and billions of innocent beings murdered for sport. Krex fleet, he said calmly. This is Admiral Tae-hyun of the United Earth Defense Force. The beings you call livestock are under our protection. If you want them, come and take them. There was silence from the Krex fleet for a moment. Then harsh laughter came through the speakers. You are herbivores like them, the Krex leader said. We are War Master Thakzon. We have hunted 17 worlds. Your little ships cannot stop us. Maybe not, Admiral Tae-hyun replied. But we're going to try. He switched to the fleet command channel. All ships, this is the Admiral. Today we make first contact with a hostile alien species. They think we're weak because we protect the innocent. They're about to learn how wrong they are. The Krex fleet began moving toward the human ships in a typical predator formation, a wide line meant to surround and overwhelm their prey. It was the same tactic they had used to destroy 17 worlds, but humans weren't like any prey they had hunted before. Commander Ji-hoon, Admiral Tae-hyun called, begin your attack. 3 stealth destroyers, invisible to Krex sensors, were already moving behind the enemy fleet. Ji-hoon's ship, the Busan, led the attack on the Krex command vessels. Firing torpedoes, Ji-hoon reported calmly. The Krex never saw it coming. 6 powerful explosions tore through their flagship and 2 other command ships. Suddenly, the organized Krex fleet was confused and leaderless. What was that? War Master Thakzon roared over the radio. Where did those attacks come from? That was humans saying hello, Admiral Tae-hyun replied. Captain Yoon-ji launched her fighters from the carrier Incheon. 60 small, fast attack ships swarmed toward the confused Krex fleet like angry hornets. Pilot Gunwoo led the first fighter squadron straight at the largest Krex ship. The aliens fired at them with huge energy weapons, but the human fighters were too small and too fast to hit easily. This is Gunwoo to all fighters, he said over the radio. Remember, we're not trying to win a fair fight. We're trying to protect those refugee ships. Do whatever it takes. The fighters hit the Krex ships with everything they had. Torpedoes and missiles exploded against alien hulls. The Krex had never fought an enemy this aggressive before. They fight like predators, War Master Thakzon told his fleet. How is this possible? The Council said they were herbivores. The main human fleet closed in, and the real battle began. The space between the fleets filled with weapons fire and explosions. Human ships used their speed and tactics to avoid the massive Krex guns, while the aliens tried to use their size and firepower to crush the smaller human vessels. Colonel Wu Jin's Marines were loaded into assault shuttles, ready to board damaged Krex ships. As the first shuttle approached a crippled alien vessel, Wu Jin gave his soldiers their final briefing. Remember, we've never fought these aliens before. We don't know how tough they are or how they think, but we know they're killers, and we know they have to be stopped. The first boarding action shocked everyone. When the Marines broke into the Krex ship, they found aliens that looked like giant lizards with too many teeth. The Krex were big and strong, but they had never fought soldiers as determined as human Marines. They're not as tough as they look, Wu Jin reported. Big and scary, but they've been bullying helpless prey for so long, they don't know how to fight real warriors. The battle raged for hours. Human ships were destroyed, and good people died. But they kept fighting. The Krex began to realize they had made a terrible mistake. These humans are not prey, War Master Thakzon shouted to his remaining ships. They are death dealers. They fight like demons. Strategic Officer In-Su coordinated the complex battle from the human command ship. He had studied every battle in human history, and he was using all of that knowledge to outthink the aliens. Admiral, the Krex are trying to regroup on our left flank, he reported. Send the destroyers Daegu and Ulsan to break them up. Yes, sir. And Admiral. The Vellani refugee ships are asking if they can help. Admiral Tae-hyun thought about the peaceful aliens who couldn't even understand violence. Tell them to stay hidden. This is our fight. Logistics Commander Sung-min was managing the impossible task of protecting the refugee ships while fighting a major battle. Human ships formed a protective wall between the Kreks and the Vellani, taking terrible damage to keep the aliens safe. We're losing ships fast, he reported. But the refugee fleet is still safe. As the battle continued, something amazing began to happen. Human ships that were too damaged to fight effectively began flying directly at Krek's vessels, using themselves as weapons. The crews volunteered for these suicide missions, knowing they would save other ships. The Kreks had never seen anything like it. They ram our ships with their own, War Master Thaxon said in disbelief. What kind of species does this? The kind that protects the innocent, Admiral Tae-hyun replied over the radio. The tide of battle began to turn. The Krek's fleet was larger, but they were used to fighting helpless prey, not determined predators. Human tactics and human determination were wearing them down. Pilot Gunwoo's fighter squadron had taken heavy losses, but they kept attacking. As Gunwoo lined up for another torpedo run on a Krek's battleship, his fighter was hit by enemy fire. Gunwoo, your ship is too damaged, his squadron leader called. Return to the carrier. Negative, Gunwoo replied calmly. I'm going to make this shot count. He flew his crippled fighter straight at the Krek's ship's command center. The torpedo he fired just before impact destroyed the alien vessel's bridge, taking out another Krek's commander. All across the battlefield, humans were making similar sacrifices. They fought not for conquest or glory, but to protect beings they had never met before this week. War Master Thaxon's flagship was badly damaged, and most of his fleet was destroyed or fleeing. He couldn't understand what had happened. Retreat, he ordered his remaining ships. Retreat now! As the surviving Krek's ships fled the system, Admiral Tae-hyun looked at the battle damage reports. They had lost 43 ships and over 2,000 brave people. But they had won. More importantly, the Vellani were safe. Admiral, Communications Officer Jae-won called, I'm picking up radio signals from the fleeing Krek's ships. What are they saying? They're calling ahead to their empire. They're warning other Krek's fleets about humans. They're saying we're death dealers who protect the weak and that other species should avoid us. Admiral Tae-hyun smiled grimly. Good. Maybe that will save some lives. On the Vellani flagship, Thailand watched the human ships tend to their wounded and repair their damage. His fur was a bright gold color now, the Vellani color for wonder and gratitude. I still do not understand how beings capable of such violence can also show such kindness, he told Captain Soo-young. Maybe that's what makes us human, she replied. We can be both when we need to be. The Battle of the Dying Stars was over. Humanity had announced itself to the galaxy not as conquerors, but as protectors. The news would spread to every corner of space. There was a new species among the stars, and they would fight for the innocent. The wreckage of the Krek's fleet drifted silent in space around the gas giant. 43 human ships had been lost, but over 200 Krek's vessels lay broken among the stars. The few surviving Krek's ships had fled to spread the word about the deadly new species that protected the weak. Admiral Tae-hyun stood in his command center, looking at casualty reports. 2,300 brave humans had died to save aliens they had never met. But 200,000 Vellani were alive because of their sacrifice. Sir, reported Lieutenant Commander Min-ho, we're getting signals from all over the galaxy. The news is spreading fast. What kind of signals? Some are from the Galactic Council. They want to meet with us immediately. Others are distress calls from species under attack by various predator races. They're all asking for help. Admiral. Tae-hyun rubbed his tired eyes. How many distress calls? 17 so far, sir. And more coming in every hour. The Admiral looked out at the Vellani refugee ships. Captain Hye-jin was there now, working with Dr. Bo-ram to establish formal diplomatic contact with the alien survivors. What do the Vellani want to do? He asked. Captain, Hye-jin's voice came over the radio from the refugee flagship. They want to go home, sir, but their world is destroyed. They're asking if they can settle somewhere in human space. Admiral Tae-hyun thought about it. Humans had been alone in the galaxy for so long. Now they were about to become neighbors with an entirely different species. Tell them yes, he decided. We'll find them a good world. Dr. Boram was fascinated by Vallani technology. Their ships were grown rather than built, using advanced biological engineering that humans had never imagined. Young Yalara, the Vallani scientist, was teaching her about their methods. Your ships are alive? Dr. Boram asked in wonder. Not exactly alive, Yalara explained, but they grow like living things. They can heal themselves if they are damaged. They can change their shape when needed. What about weapons? Can you grow weapons? Yalara's fur turned a sad blue color. We could, perhaps. But it would be like asking you to grow poison in your body. It is against our nature. Dr. Boram understood. The Vallani would never be warriors, but they had other gifts that could help humanity explore the galaxy. Director Sunwoo was already working on plans for a new colony world. He had found a planet in the Tau Ceti system that would be perfect for the Vallani refugees. It's got the right temperature, the right atmosphere, and plenty of plant life, he reported to Admiral Tae-hyun. We can have basic facilities ready in 6 months. What will we call it? The Vallani want to call it New Ashara, after their lost homeworld. While the humans and Vallani worked together, the galaxy was changing around them. News of the battle had reached every corner of space. Species that had been hiding from predators for centuries began to hope again. The Galactic Council sent a formal delegation to meet with the humans. Ambassador Mi Young was chosen to represent Earth in its first official contact with galactic civilization. The Council ship was enormous, bigger than anything humans had ever built. Representatives from dozens of different species waited to meet the humans who had defeated the Kreks. Welcome, humans of Earth, said the Council speaker, an alien that looked like a walking tree. We are surprised by your actions. Surprised? Ambassador Mi Young asked. When we detected your signals months ago, we assumed you were another peaceful species. We did not expect you to attack the Kreks Empire. We didn't attack them, Mi Young replied calmly. We defended innocent beings from genocide. The distinction is interesting, another council member said. This one looked like a giant bird made of crystal. Most species either submit to predators or become predators themselves. You chose a third path. We chose the right path, Mi Young said firmly. The council speaker rustled his leaves nervously. The Kreks Empire is vast and powerful. You have made dangerous enemies. The Kreks made enemies when they started murdering innocent people. We just gave those enemies teeth. As the diplomatic meetings continued, more distress signals kept coming in. Species all over the galaxy were asking for human help against various predator races. Admiral Tae-hyun called a meeting of his senior officers. We can't save everyone. We don't have enough ships or people. But we can save some, Captain Yunji pointed out. And maybe we can teach others to save themselves, Colonel Woojin agreed. What if we train other species? Show them how to fight. Back? The peaceful species won't fight, Dr. Boram said. It's not in their nature. Then we find species that will fight, Commander Ji-hoon suggested. There have to be other predator species that don't like bullies. It was a good idea. Over the following months, humans began to build alliances with different species across the galaxy. Some, like the Vallani, were peaceful and needed protection. Others, like the warrior race called the Corvan, were happy to join fights against species like the Kreks. Young Yalara had become the first Vallani to serve on a human ship. She worked with Dr. Boram to combine human and Vallani technology, creating new types of ships that could heal themselves and fight effectively. Your species and mine complement each other well, she told Dr. Boram. You provide the strength to fight. We provide the wisdom to heal. The Vallani settlement on New Ashara was thriving. The refugees had built a beautiful city that looked like a giant garden, with buildings that grew instead of being constructed. Human visitors often said it was the most peaceful place they had ever seen, but the galaxy was still a dangerous place. Other predator empires began to take notice of humanity. Some declared war, others tried to make alliances, thinking humans might be useful partners in conquest. They were all wrong about what humans wanted. We're not interested in building an empire, Ambassador Mi Young told the galactic media. We're interested in building a galaxy where children can grow up safe. The statement became famous across space. Species that had given up hope began to believe again. Young beings on 100 worlds heard the message and dreamed of a future without fear. Admiral Tae-hyun, now bearing scars from 3 more battles against Predator fleets, stood before the Galactic Council for the final time before returning to Earth. "The galaxy is changing," he told the assembled delegates. "The age of predators hunting the innocent is ending. Species that choose to protect the weak will thrive. Species that choose to prey on others will face consequences." "And who appointed humans to police the galaxy?" demanded a delegate from the hegemony. "Another predator empire." "No one appointed us," Admiral Tae-hyun replied. "We appointed ourselves, because someone has to." As the human fleet prepared to leave the council station, they carried with them representatives from 37 different species. Some were refugees seeking sanctuary in human space. Others were diplomats wanting to establish formal relations with Earth. A few were warriors wanting to join the fight against galactic predators. Captain Soo-young, now promoted to admiral, would lead the new Galactic Protection Fleet. It would be humanity's gift to the galaxy, a force dedicated to protecting the innocent wherever they might be found. Thailand, the elderly Vellani who had first met the humans, requested to speak to Admiral Tae-hyun before the fleet departed. "When your ships first arrived," the old alien said, "I could not understand why predators would protect prey. I understand now." "What do you understand?" "You are not predators," Thailand replied, his fur a warm golden color. "You are guardians." "There is a difference." "What's the difference?" "Predators kill because they enjoy it. Guardians kill because they have to." Admiral Tae-hyun nodded. It was the best explanation he had ever heard. As the human fleet left the council station, they passed a massive monument that had been built in space. It listed the names of all the human ships and crew members lost in battles across the galaxy. At the top, in letters that could be seen from light years away, was a simple message. They heard children crying in the dark. They came because no one else would. The galaxy had changed forever. Predator species now thought twice before attacking the innocent, knowing that somewhere in space, human ships were watching and waiting. Peaceful species began to explore and trade again, protected by the knowledge that help would come if they called for it. And on Earth, in the quiet moments between missions, the survivors of that first desperate flight to save the Vellani told their children about the day humanity decided to become the galaxy's guardians. They told them about the moment when Earth heard aliens crying for help and responded with a fleet. The stars were no longer dark and empty. They were full of hope, protected by beings who understood that strength without compassion was just another form of weakness. Humanity had found its place in the galaxy at last, not as conquerors or victims, but as the ones who stood between the innocent and those who would harm them. It was exactly where they belonged.